A Wisconsin family is remembering their son who was killed in a bombing overseas as we learn more about those attacks.
And we are almost to May, but flu season still isn't over. We'll share when doctors say we'll finally be out of the woods with one of the longest flu seasons in years.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us for News 3 Now this morning on this Tuesday, April 23rd. And we're waking up, boy, 15 degrees colder than it was yesterday.
Yeah, you'll feel the difference outside. It's pretty cloudy, but the rain from yesterday has come to an end for the area. Take a live look outside the WISC-TV sky cam. A lot of low clouds in the area still, but we'll see some clearing taking place through the day today. If Snoop Dogg were here, he would say drizzle for shizzle this morning.
I did not see that coming.
That was a dare. One of the radio stations dared me to say for shizzle on the air. So check that box. Here's a look at Doppler track this morning. That drizzle is not showing up on the radar, and it shouldn't last too long. Skies will clear today. We are in the 40s, though, so you want your jacket this morning. Sunshine for the afternoon with high temperatures in the middle 60s. Here's a look at our traffic report this morning. We don't have any issues to report. I looked around the area, no accidents either, which is great news. A little bit of congestion starting to show up, though, at Stoughton Road and the Beltline. Here's a look at your drive times. Still going posted speeds as you head into Madison.
All right.
I'm trying to look for more lyrics as we speak. Don't
How
worry.
about no snow for show?
Let's hope I don't have to put snow in the
I know. I just jinxed it with my attempt at rhyming. I'm a country girl, folks.
My goodness. I just don't even know what to do right now.
That was great. That made our
Caught you off guard,
Tuesday.
didn't I?
Thank you, Hattie. We
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Let's bring on more dares for Hattie for sure. All right, 6:02 right now and happening now. Some people in Columbia County are still out of their homes this morning as the state continues to monitor an unstable levee along the Wisconsin. That river is expected to get back below major flood levels tonight, but the DNR keeps watching that levee near Portage, where officials already found a small breach. As of last night, about 30 households were still evacuated along an 8-mile stretch of Levee Road. There's still no word on when the evacuation orders along that road will be lifted, but the National Weather Service does expect the river to be back at minor flood stages by Thursday morning. The state highway that cuts across the Wisconsin and through Portage is back open this morning after part of it was shut down overnight. Water was covering 33 just as you head toward the downtown area, closing off the section between Pierce Street and Cass Street last night. That was cleared around 12:30 this morning.
All the rain and storms last night ended up pushing back a major traffic change on Verona Road to tonight. Delays are now expected on Verona Road starting Wednesday morning when southbound traffic shifts onto the new interchange ramps from Williamsburg Way all the way to McKee Road. The Verona Road and Williamsburg Way intersection will also partially close starting Wednesday morning. Only right turns in and out of that intersection will be allowed as crews there build a bridge. That's expected to last until sometime in July.
Into the Channel 3000 Alert Center overnight, the Minister of Defense in Sri Lanka says that bombings on Easter Sunday were carried out in retaliation to attacks at mosques in New Zealand last month. At least 4 Americans were among the more than 300 people killed. That includes a UW-Madison graduate. Dieter Kowalski worked for an educational publishing company and was on a business trip over the weekend. The 40-year-old had just arrived at his hotel when the explosion happened.
He's 40 years old, and you never expect that you would outlive your son. So it's kind of sad that I did. I always hoped that I would go first, but it didn't happen that way.
Just awful there. Those
Devastating.
who knew Dieter well say that he was fun to be around. He had a big heart. He was originally from Milwaukee but lived in Denver.
A memorial for 2 young Wisconsin girls continues to grow this morning after they were found dead in a home in Seymour outside of Green Bay.
I grabbed 2 stuffed animals, and then me and my neighbor, we went and got some flowers.
That memorial for 4-year-old Madeline Annie Sammons and 3-year-old Haley Kay started with those 2 stuffed animals last Friday and has since grown to include cards, pinwheels, and other toys. All of those items will eventually go to the family. The The state's Department of Justice is handling the investigation into their deaths. The name of the 35-year-old man who was also found dead in that home is not being released at this time.
Again, lock it up. We can't apparently say it enough because law enforcement around Dane County are seeing an uptick in car burglaries. This past weekend, at least 10 vehicles were stolen in Madison alone. You're seeing one car burglary that was caught on video around 2 a.m. Sunday over on Milky Way on the east side. That car was later found on Allied Drive. Police believe this is the same ring of young people who have been stealing cars over the past few months. 6:05 right now, and if the flu is still making its rounds through your household, you are not alone.
Yeah, the CDC says this season is now one of the longest in recent memory. Josh Breiter's here this morning with how doctors say you can help keep your family safe.
Here I am again. I got the hand
As
sanitizer.
promised.
Unfortunately, I already used up all the emergency, so I'm a little selfish when it comes to that, ladies.
You're
Right
prepared
at
at
Walgreens,
least.
you're
Yeah.
there.
You go. Well, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says this year's flu season has been one of the longest since 1997 when it started keeping records. So far this season, up to 41.3 million people showed flu symptoms, with up to 19.4 million visiting the doctor and as many as 610,000 hospitalized. Health experts say one of the reasons for the long flu season is that two types of flu viruses surfaced at different times. The beginning of the season was H1N1, and as that went down, H3N2 viruses went up. St. Mary's Hospital nurse epidemiologist Ellen Smith says this new information from the CDC is something they too have been seeing in their emergency rooms.
I would speculate that we're on the downhill slide and that you'll see some cases going on for the next several weeks, and then it'll phase out probably in the next month or so. But it's not unusual to see a random case here or there almost any time of the year now.
While flu cases are declining, Smith says the viruses can still spread even in the warmer weather. That's part of the reason why she still encourages you to get the flu shot if you haven't done so already. We did check, and it's still available at many locations around the community. Now, while it has been the longest flu season in more than a decade, it hasn't been very severe locally. Smith tells me there's only seen about a third of the cases so far this year compared to last year, and only half as many as the year before. Along with the flu shot, she also encourages those common sense things like washing your hands and, of course, staying home when you're sick. I think we all want to feel
we're all
like
guilty
and be
of
the
that.
hero, and
Yeah.
you know, we don't want to let people down, but it's like, when you think about it, it's like we could probably save a lot that way.
Just douse the newsroom in this.
We
would
should
ya?
be rubbing
Give me
the
this
desk.
back.
Yeah.
I know, we really should. It's crazy, and we're almost into May, and we're still talking about this.
Well,
so.
hopefully not for too much longer.
I hope so.
Yeah. Thank you, Josh.
You bet.
6:07 your time now. After last summer's flooding, the sound of rain can put a lot of us on edge. The city of Madison wants to make sure we don't see that kind of devastation in the future. We're going to show you what they're doing to plan ahead.
We won't have any rain to worry about today, at least. Hattie's calling for plenty of sunshine. Starting off, as you can see, a bit cloudy there, and cooler temperatures certainly on the way. We will get her first alert forecast after the break right here on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. We have pretty quiet conditions this morning, cloudy skies, but the rain has come to an end. Some heavy rain, though, for parts of our viewing area. Let's take a look at the 24-hour precipitation estimates on the radar map, and you'll see that right around an inch here in Madison. In fact, officially an inch recorded at the airport, but north and west of town as you headed up towards the Dells, much of Sauk County picking up over an inch, almost 2 inches of rain. So there was a band of some heavier thunderstorm activity just north of Madison. Lighter amounts the south and east as you head towards Janesville and then Racine and Kenosha. Here's a look, though, at what's happening this morning. Pretty quiet as the rain has already moved out of the area. We'll zoom the map out a little bit and you can see that it is very quiet across Minnesota and Iowa this morning. No more rain in our forecast, at least for a couple of days. Weather Track is showing you where the back edge of the clouds sits this morning. We still have quite a few clouds here across southern Wisconsin, but some significant clearing has been taking place overnight across Minnesota and now into northwestern Wisconsin. So those clouds will follow the rain and eventually clear out of the area. Where skies are clear, temperatures have dropped into the 30s, even 20s in a few spots. Superior at 28 degrees right now. Eau Claire at 36, Marshfield's 38. Here in Madison, we're still at 45 degrees. Northerly winds, though, are already in place across the area, 10 to 15 miles an hour. That will continue to keep things a little bit cooler today. Here's a closer look at temperatures for our viewing area. It's 46 in Platteville and Prairie du Chien, as well as Lone Rock this morning. Janesville's at 48. It's down 43, though, in the Dells. Future Track forecast model shows you what's going to happen with these clouds today. Still cloudy as you head to work and school, but by the lunch hour, sunshine back into the area. Temperatures in the mid-50s around noon today, climbing to highs in the mid-60s this afternoon. A pretty well-developed lake breeze, though, setting up. You can see where those winds come off of Lake Michigan. Watch what happens to temperatures through the evening. It cools down pretty quickly right along the lakeshore. That lake breeze makes it to about Jefferson before it falls apart. It is going to be a cooler start, though, tomorrow morning with temperatures in the 30s. We are looking at highs close to 70 tomorrow, though, with sunshine. Rain chances back in the forecast on Thursday. And then looking a little bit more unsettled as we head through the weekend with those rain chances and clouds in the area. It will be a little cooler. Highs back in the 50s for the upcoming weekend. Let's get a look at your First Alert traffic maps this morning. Josh Tim has all the details. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, it's a quiet start on the Beltline this morning. Really nothing to slow you down in either direction at this point. Other roads here in Dane County not looking too bad right now. Plan on a few brake lights, though, on Stoughton Road approaching the Beltline ramps. No delays showing up downtown around campus. Plan on things picking up over the next hour or so. And other main routes coming into Madison, they're moving along at the posted speeds with no major issues. Your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you so much, Josh, and thank you, Hattie. So the city of Madison is working on a plan to keep last summer's flooding from happening again, or at the very least make sure it doesn't cause as much damage.
A big challenge there. The engineering division in the city is starting a series of meetings with the public to talk about the ins and outs of last year's flooding by focusing on watersheds on the west side. Last night, they talked to people in the Strickers-Mendota watershed, where they are still seeing signs of last August to this day. Take Tiedemann's Pond, for example, where the boardwalk is still underwater. Residents near there say when the pond is full, they're worried any more rain will immediately flood. That is why the city wants to study these areas and figure out what fixes they can make to prevent future flooding.
We really want to solve it, and we want to solve it right, and we want to do it right, and we want to provide solutions that last for a long time so that we don't ever have to deal with this again.
The city is planning meetings for multiple watersheds on the west side to answer everybody's questions on the topic of flooding. Up next for the city, some studies to determine whether a change in city infrastructure or drainage patterns is needed. Now, those flooding concerns extend beyond the city of Madison. High river levels up in Portage are going down this morning, but now Iowa County is watching for some minor flooding today.
And unfortunately, Chris Reese is here looking ahead to perhaps, potentially a wet couple of weeks here.
Yeah, that's right. We're getting into one of those patterns that I think multiple storm systems are going to move through Madison, really through just the upper Midwest. And so that means that we are entering into a wetter than normal pattern, all due to something known as a baroclinic zone. And I know you're asking me, Chris, what is a baroclinic zone?
Yep.
This is something that comes out of my textbooks that I had in college. But essentially, this is a region of distinct temperature contrast, oftentimes separated by the jet stream. And these regions are favored for developing storm systems. A lot of regions of low pressure develop when you get into a baroclinic zone. So let me show you what that looks like. Here's the jet stream now, but a baroclinic zone will actually develop as we go towards the weekend. And so notice the warm air to the south, the cold air to the north, the jet stream right in between that. And that's really the setup as we go into next week as well. In fact, our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook actually shapes up really well with this. Notice the warmer than normal temperatures across the south, the colder than normal temperatures across the north. And oftentimes you might hear me say, if you're on the edge or right in the middle, things are going to get pretty active for you. And of course, we in Wisconsin are on the edge. So watch how things get active. Here we are as we approach Friday. Watch the rain chances starting to arrive from the north Friday night. That goes into Saturday. As soon as that system gets out of here, here we are Sunday and into Monday with the next system starting to roll into town. Then Tuesday into Wednesday, here comes the next system. And then as we head towards Friday, more systems begin to develop. So with good reason, the Climate Prediction Center over the next 6 to 10 days does have us in a higher than normal precipitation outlook, and that actually continues for the northern half of the country over the next 8 to 14 days. So really through the first week of May, starting now, I do believe that we will see several rain chances, perhaps every couple of days starting this weekend.
Wow. I know. It just feels
it could be snow.
It could be snow. Silver lining.
You aren't wrong about that. I don't even want to get into that part of the program.
Yeah, I guess there's a reason they say April showers.
No snow for show is actually what they say these days. It's new. It's what the kids are dropping.
I heard the Hattie dropped it earlier today, but yeah.
Not that cool. Not that cool.
I got you, don't worry.
I hope so. Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure, guys.
6:18, almost your time now. The Brewers are quickly becoming one of the more eco-friendly teams in the league. The players have already switched to reusable water bottles, and a change coming to Miller Park could help cut down on waste even more.
We'll tell you more about that, and the Greek Freak lived up to his name, carrying the Bucks into the second round of the playoffs for the first time since gas was under $1.50 a gallon.
What?
We will have the highlights when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. A live look from the Edgewater Skycam downtown Madison in the capital. No issues with fog this morning, but we definitely have clouds in place. Those clouds will clear though from west to east. Our temperatures are still in the 40s for all of our viewing area. Getting a little cooler to the north though. 43 now in the Dells, 42 in Camp Douglas. Your bus stop weather forecast has temperatures climbing into the 60s this afternoon. You'll still probably want a light jacket this morning. More sunshine though for the second part of the day. Have a wonderful Tuesday.
Thank you so much, Hattie. So, for the first time in almost 20 years, it's when Adele first came out, by the way, the Milwaukee Bucks are headed to the second round of the NBA playoffs. The Bucks finished a 4-game sweep of the Detroit Pistons last night in Detroit, winning 127-104. Giannis Antetokounmpo just dominating again, scoring 41 points. He had 9 rebounds. And really cool, he blocked 4 shots. I saw some of them. They looked really good. It's the team's first playoff series win since 2001. Next up, though, is a familiar opponent, that being the Boston Celtics. That team actually knocked the Bucks out of the playoffs last year. Hoping for not a repeat. We'll let you know when that game is going to be as soon as we know.
Good luck to them.
Absolutely. All right, next time you grab a soda at Miller Park, you won't be sipping it out of a plastic straw. In a tweet yesterday, the Brewers said the team will no longer be offering plastic straws in an effort to reduce waste, citing the 8 million metric tons of plastic that affects the oceans each year. Anyone at the game will still be able to request a paper straw.
And up in Green Bay, the Packers are getting ready for the NFL draft later this week, but they will be making an announcement of a different kind later today. They're set to unveil the latest developments to the Titletown district near Lambeau Field a little later this morning. The area already includes a park, a craft brewery, a full-size football field, and an ice skating rink and tubing for the winter. In October, the team had announced plans to build a 150-unit apartment building, several townhomes, and an office building in that area. Today's announcement is set for 10 this morning.
6:23 right now in our last half hour. A woman is facing charges after leading police on a high-speed chase with a child in the back seat. We'll have the details on that story straight ahead.
And the superintendent of Madison Schools is responding to criticism after dozens of teachers and staff demanded action following an alleged sexual assault at East High School. We'll share what she had to say up next on News 3 Now this morning.
Madison's superintendent is admitting her district needs to do better when it comes to sexual assault reports on school grounds. We'll tell you what led to those comments.
And we are just a few months away from some new sights and scents over on the east side. We'll get an update on the expansion project at Olbrich Botanical Gardens straight ahead.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for staying with us for the final half hour of News 3 Now this morning on this Tuesday, April 23rd. And the word on the street is Hattie McLean's taking dares today. Think we can dare her to give us a sunny Tuesday?
I would certainly hope so. Hattie, what do you think?
It's my pleasure.
For shizzle?
Just have to be a little patient. We have clouds this morning, but sunshine back in the forecast for the afternoon. Let's take a live look from our Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville. Now, typically we see some pretty nice sunrises on this camera shot, but not today. Skies are cloudy, although I think after that rain, starting to look a little greener in the Platteville area. A lot of green on our temperature map with temps in the 40s this morning. 45 in Platteville as well as Mineral Point and here in Madison. Janesville's the warm spot with 48 degrees this morning. Does drop into the low 40s though for our northern viewing area. Here's a look at your forecast as you head out the door this morning. You'll definitely want a light jacket or at least a sweater. Temperatures in the 40s, climbing through the 50s though, back into the 60s. With a nice amount of sunshine for the afternoon. Skies will clear this morning. Let's take a look at those first alert traffic maps early today. No issues to report here in Madison. Just a few slowdowns near Park Street and Stoughton Road on the Beltline. That's typical for this time of the day. Zooming out around Dane County, looks like travel on the interstate and all those major routes into the city still going at posted speeds. And that's your first alert traffic.
Certainly what we want to hear on a Tuesday morning, even though it's cloudy now. Hopefully that sun poking out later.
That's right. Just a little patience this morning. We'll get the sun for the afternoon.
All right. Thanks, Hattie.
You're welcome.
6:29 your time now. The superintendent of Madison Schools is responding to criticism about the district's response to a reported sexual assault at East High School. 73 East High staff members released a letter on Friday night wanting to see the district take decisive action to address the harm to their community. They criticize Superintendent Jen Cheatham for not speaking out about the assault or addressing how comments made by the district's head of security seem to have minimized the incident. Cheatham says she understands that words matter, especially in this case.
I know that those comments caused additional harm, right, when harm had already been caused. And it is in those times where it's incredibly important for families, for students, for staff to hear from us that sexual violence will not be tolerated in school.
Jennifer Cheatham says she appreciates the letter from staff and understands their criticisms, even of her. She said she is talking to the security coordinator to make sure follow-up disciplinary actions are appropriate and says she is open to mandatory sexual assault training for all staff.
Meanwhile, the school district says that it's taking its regular school board meetings on the road. Starting on Monday, the board will be at different schools in the district over the next few months instead of the normal meeting place inside the district's Doyle Administration Building. Board members say they want to create more opportunities for community engagement and some meet and greets before those meetings. The first happens Monday at 5:15 at Chavez Elementary.
There is a woman facing charges after police say she led them on a high-speed chase on the interstate with a child in the back seat that ended in a crash. This all happened yesterday afternoon. State Patrol says that woman hit speeds of up to 100 miles an hour. First responders tried to use spike strips twice to stop her vehicle, but they didn't work. Officers called off the chase when they reached a construction zone. But just 10 minutes later, 4 vehicles were involved in a crash near Stoughton. The suspected driver, that woman from Eau Claire, was arrested. Her 8-year-old passenger was taken to the hospital as a precaution, then reunited with family.
New overnight into the Channel 3000 Alert Center, a man from Brookfield is in jail this morning on a tentative 5th OWI charge. State Patrol officers responded to a possible deer versus car crash on I-90 near Sparta. The trooper at the scene said that vehicle was only disabled but was still in a lane of traffic. After moving the car, 55-year-old Patrick Bra failed field sobriety test and was taken to the hospital for an official blood draw. The investigation continues this morning.
6:31 your time now. Progress is continuing on one of our favorite places to visit over on Madison's east side. You are taking a look at the time-lapse video of construction at Olbrich Botanical Gardens. Over the past couple of months, lots of work being done there. This morning, crews are starting to pour the concrete for the foundation on that $12 million project. The expansion is the first in almost 20 years for the gardens. New improvements will include a learning center and an energy-efficient greenhouse, along with more space for flowers and plants. Work is expected to wrap up by September.
6:32 right now. It may not be as serious or severe, but the CDC says this flu season is now one of the longest in decades.
Still, though, local hospitals say it's not nearly as bad as what they've seen in recent years, but it's not over yet.
Yeah.
Josh Spreiter is sharing the hand sanitizer and the details with the newsroom this morning. Hi, Josh.
Good morning, ladies. So here we are again, almost into May now, and we're still talking about flu season, and it looks like we're going to be talking about this in the months and years to come. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says this year's flu season has been one of the longest since 1997, when it started keeping records, and it is the longest in the past decade. Health experts say it also ramped up much later this year compared to normal, and we're going to be dealing with it for at least another few weeks. I caught up with nurse epidemiologist Ellen Smith at St. Mary's Hospital, who tells me it's one of the oddest flu seasons she's seen in Madison over the years. So what can you do if you haven't already done so? Get the flu shot.
We're still seeing some significant illness in the community. So even though it's later in the season, even though it appears as if some of the cases are decreasing in numbers at least, you still want to protect yourself, you want to protect your family. And there's more than one strain of influenza out there. So, you know, it's important to protect yourself as much as possible and protect your loved ones.
Along with getting the flu shot, Smith also encourages those common sense precautions like washing hands and staying home when sick to prevent spreading of the virus. One reason for the long flu season is that two types of flu viruses surfaced at different times. One started early and the other came in a little later. So it peaked late, and I'm told that's why we're still seeing the effects right now. If there's any good news, St. Mary's Hospital says they're only seeing a fraction of the cases they saw last year. So I guess if you look at that, it's just a little bit of everything to weigh on this season.
A little bit of good news, and you don't want to be getting sick just as the weather's starting to get nice.
I know, and she also said too, like a lot of times people think when it gets warmer, you're okay, but we're still seeing those issues right now, and it's not going away. So.
All right, we've been warned. Josh Spreiter, thank you so much.
You bet.
Your time right now is 6:34, and there are renewed concerns this morning about the long-term viability of Social Security and when the program might run out of money. That's ahead in the morning sprint.
And I've probably watched Wedding Crashers close to 50 times in my lifetime, but that's nothing compared to the world record for movie watching that one Wisconsin man is setting. We're sharing his accomplishment next on News 3 Now this morning. Okay, so we always ask you to share your morning with us, and Kevin Charles Grunberg posted my favorite photo of all time. I'm such a sucker for a farm scene. I say it all the time, but a beautiful sunrise in Argyle, he says.
Yeah, that is very, very nice. And I'm just so impressed by our photographer's ability to like do the silhouette thing. It just is
beautiful. The contrast here. You could sell that pic, Kevin.
Yeah, probably.
Sell it to me first, though. Thank you so much for sharing. What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it on Facebook or on Twitter, and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning so Danica and I can find and share our favorites right here on the program.
So our resident film critic Will Loper is on a well-deserved 2-week vacation overseas, but if he were here, I think he'd agree seeing the same movie more than 100 times is even a bit much.
Maybe. So this is Steve. He's from Rothschild up in Wausau, and he's now a Guinness Book of World Records holder after seeing Captain Marvel 116 times. Let me say that again. 116 times. In case you were wondering, that movie only came out about a month and a half ago. He says the most viewings in a single day he was able to fit in was 7, so he's had to get a little creative with his schedule.
The amount of time that it takes, I've had to take time off of work. I would take long lunch breaks to accommodate watching an entire movie in that particular time frame, and then just time on the weekends where I'm not doing other things.
What a goal, sir. All right, Captain Marvel runs about 2 hours and 5 minutes long, meaning Steve has spent 14,286 minutes watching it.
Yeah, that's a lot of times.
Could you imagine the movie quotes he's probably dropping at parties, though?
Movie quotes, he can do the whole movie by this point and act it out.
Pop culture king.
I don't, there are a few movies that I've seen even, like 3 times, let alone 116? Yeah, 116.
How many minutes was that? Go back.
A lot. It's like more than 330
14,000
yeah.
minutes.
330
Hats
hours.
off to you, sir. You have a lot more patience, a lot more attention span than I do.
There is no way, Jose. I'd be taking a whole bunch of naps.
Yeah. All right, 6:39 your time now. It might be a good day to get outside if you spent, the last few weeks in a movie theater. Hattie has cooler temperatures, but plenty of sun in her forecast still ahead.
First, though, it is April 23rd, and we want to say happy birthday to Amelia and all the kids turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with us here on News 3 Now this morning.
Look
You're taking a live look at the west side of Madison right now. A blanket of clouds out there, Hattie says. They are going to clear by mid-morning, though. Plenty of sun in store for your forecast. We'll check in with Hattie in just a second. We have some good news first, though, out of Green Bay this morning, where police canine Pyro is making big strides on his road to recovery.
A lot of people pulling for this guy,
Yeah.
and it might be my favorite story of the morning. Pyro made his first public appearance yesterday after a man stabbed him multiple times and nearly killed him. Pyro has had multiple surgeries since that incident and is looking pretty good. Officer Scott Sulzman is his handler, and you know, rightfully so, got a bit emotional about his partner's recovery at the press conference yesterday. Take a listen.
I just wanted to take this time to say thank you. It truly has been amazing, and the easiest way for me to extend my gratitude to everyone here is to come up here, be uncomfortable in front of everyone, and just say truly thank you.
We appreciate him doing that. Police say Pyro is coming back to work on light-duty assignments. That includes drug sniffing and training. Of course, wishing him all the best. And Hattie, boy, oh boy, is it going to be a good day to take Pyro and all the pups out for a walk.
I think so. Especially this afternoon, we have more sunshine. Kind of a cloudy start right now. You can have no issues with fog. We can see the Capitol behind me on the Edgewater Skycam, but it definitely is cloudy. We had some rain move through yesterday. Take a look at the temperature trend. Starting out very mild yesterday, climbing to highs in the mid and upper 70s. But boy, it dropped off quickly when those showers and thunderstorms moved into the area. Now this morning, we're back in the 40s. Quite a bit of rain, though, for parts of the state. Officially 1 inch here in Madison. 1.5 to maybe 2 inches, though, through parts of Sauk County up towards the Dells. Then another spike in precipitation for the far northwestern corner of the state as well. So quite a bit of rain for some areas yesterday. The rain has moved out, though. Things are dry for the state this morning. As far as severe weather is concerned, no severe weather here today. The focus will be across much of Texas and southern Texas more specifically later on this afternoon, as showers and thunderstorms are expected to develop there. The National Weather Service, though, continues with spotter training classes. There are just a couple left. They'll wrap up by the first part of May. So for today, if you're interested, 1 to 3 this afternoon and then 6 to 8 in Middleton. The classes today. Tomorrow, there's one in the afternoon in Dodgeville, and then in the evening in Cobb. All those classes are free and open to the public. Our travel weather today shows you that it will be stormy through the southern plains this morning. Sunshine, though, for the afternoon here across the Great Lakes. Pretty nice across the East Coast as well. Temperatures in the 80s with some sunshine there. So travel weather looking pretty good on both coasts. Cloudy right now, though, as you see on the WISC-TV Skycam. 45 here in Madison, 46 in Lone Rock, as well as Prairie du Chien. The clouds keeping temperatures a little bit warmer for us this morning. There will be a northerly wind, but watch what happens to the clouds. Those northerly winds push the clouds out of the area today. So by lunchtime, we're talking sunshine with temperatures in the mid-50s. We're headed to highs in the mid-60s for southern Wisconsin with sunshine in all locations. Lake breeze does develop later today, and that cools things down along the lakeshore. It doesn't make it in too far, though. It will fall apart before it reaches the Madison area. Our temperatures overnight then dropping into the 30s, so it will be a cool start tomorrow morning. Lots of sunshine, though, on Wednesday with warmer temperatures. We'll be back up near 70. Looks a little unsettled, though, as we head into the weekend. Cooler as well, with temperatures back in the 50s. Whoa, look at Lucy and Baraboo.
She's ready.
Oh, man.
Prepared for that sun.
Could Lucy come do my hair in the morning?
Right.
She's fantastic.
Great. Fabulous.
63. Looks like she's kind of having a ride there, though.
I know. Don't put your head out the window there, Luce. You might lose all that sweet dew.
Stylish little pup.
Yes.
Love it.
Love it. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
The Morning Sprint's coming up next right here on News 3 Now this morning. 6:50 time for the morning sprint. We may be close to the end of April, but Josh Spreiter is talking about a lingering flu season.
And Hattie says it'll be cooler today than yesterday, but with plenty of sunshine. And that's welcome news for folks along the Wisconsin River who are still concerned about flooding. Some people in Columbia County are still out of their homes as the DNR continues to monitor an unstable levee near Portage. About 30 households along an 8-mile stretch of Levee Road had to be evacuated after a small breach was found. The river is expected to drop below major flood stages tonight.
The state highway that cuts across that river and through Portage is back open this morning after part of it was shut down. Water was covering 33 just as you head into the downtown area overnight, closing the section between Pierce Street and Cass Street. That was cleared up right around 12:30 this morning.
The city of Madison is working on a plan to keep last summer's flooding from ever happening again. The engineering division in the city is starting a series of meetings with the public to talk about the ins and outs of last year's flooding. Last night, they met with people in the Strickers-Mendota watershed, where they are still seeing signs of last August to this day. Up next, the city will launch a study to determine whether a change in city infrastructure or drainage patterns is needed.
And good news, no more rain in the forecast today. The rain has moved out. Clouds linger, though, for southern Wisconsin this morning. We'll see a clearing trend taking place through the morning with temperatures climbing through the 50s, back into the mid-60s this afternoon. Still dealing with a north wind, though, around 10 to 15 miles per hour.
Thank you very much, Hattie. New overnight, Sri Lanka's Minister of Defense says the deadly bombings on Easter Sunday were in retaliation to last month's shootings in New Zealand at the mosques there. There are more than 300 people who are now confirmed dead in those bombings, which were carried out simultaneously at churches and hotels. Burials for those victims do start today. 4 Americans were killed, including a graduate of UW-Madison who was in Sri Lanka on a business trip. We have more on that over on channel3000.com.
Boeing is the subject of a new round of concerns, and this time they have nothing to do with the grounded 737 MAX 8s. The Federal Aviation Administration has received nearly a dozen whistleblower complaints with the 787 Dreamliner. That's Boeing's flagship airline. United Airlines flies 86 of them alone. Those complaints, received as recently as 2017, bring up manufacturing issues at Boeing's plant in South Carolina. Things like tools being left behind in new planes and pressure for workers to prioritize speed over safety.
The Supreme Court will hear arguments today about whether the Trump administration should be able to include citizenship as a question on the 2020 census. The Justice Department says asking whether the person filling out the census form is a citizen is needed to enforce civil rights laws. But opponents say the move would discourage immigrants from responding and could lead to skewed data.
Tens of millions of Americans will not be able to receive all of their Social Security benefits when they retire if Congress doesn't act soon. That's according to a new annual report that says the program's trust funds could be out of money by 2035. At that point, checks would still go out, but the program would only have enough revenue to pay about 3/4 of promised benefits through the year 2093. Social Security is expected to cost the government more money than it brings in by the year 2020.
Back in Madison, the school superintendent, Jennifer Cheatham, says sexual violence will not be tolerated in schools. That is in response to criticism from parents and staff over the district's response to a reported sexual assault on the grounds of East High School. More than 70 staff members released a letter Friday night asking for decisive action to be taken. Superintendent Cheatham says she appreciates the letter and understands their criticisms and is open to mandatory sexual assault training for all staff as a result of the incident.
Meanwhile, the district says it wants to create more opportunities for community engagement and feedback. So, school board members are taking their board meetings on the road. Starting on Monday, the board will be meeting at different schools in the district over the next few months, instead of their normal meeting place inside the district's Doyle Administration Building. The first of those meetings is Monday at 5:15 at Chavez Elementary.
Compared to normal. While the flu season is running late and running long this year, health experts at St. Mary's Hospital tell me they've only seen about 1/3 of the cases so far compared to last year, and only half as many as the year before in Madison. They expect the flu to be sticking around for the next few weeks, so if you haven't done so yet, officials still encourage you to get the flu shot for your family, and remember to wash your hands often.
Thank you very much, Josh. The Bucks are headed to round 2 of the NBA playoffs after sweeping the Detroit Pistons in the first round. Giannis Antetokounmpo dominated again in Game 4 last night with 41 points and 4 blocked shots. It is the team's first playoff series win since 2001. Up next, though, the Boston Celtics, who knocked out the Bucks in the last playoff series last year. No word yet on when that game will be.
We will find out later today who the lucky winner of the $768 million jackpot is. The Wisconsin Lottery is making that announcement at noon today. Wisconsin law says the winner cannot remain anonymous. We'll have more on that announcement coming up later today on News 3 Now.
The rain and storms last night did push back a significant change to traffic on Verona Road to tonight. Now, delays are expected on Verona Road starting Wednesday morning when southbound traffic shifts onto new interchange ramps from Williamsburg Way to McKee Road. The Verona Road and Williamsburg Way intersection will also partially close starting Wednesday morning. Only right turns in and out of that intersection will be allowed as crews build a bridge there. That's expected, that is, to last until sometime in July.
6:56 now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your first alert traffic. Hey, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. The usual crowd starting to show up on the westbound side of the Beltline. A few brake lights between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. It's going to add a couple minutes to your drive. Inbound John Nolan beginning to slow down near the Olin Avenue and North Shore Drive intersections heading into downtown. And other main routes coming into Madison still moving at posted speeds with no major issues. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thanks, Josh.
And it is a cloudy start to this Tuesday morning. Take a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. We have cloudy skies here in Madison and all around southern Wisconsin. Our forecast today, though, calls for those clouds to clear out through the morning, giving way to lots of sunshine for the afternoon. Temperatures should climb back into the mid-60s as well. There will be a north wind, making it feel a little bit cooler, especially than yesterday. Here's a look at our extended forecast. We have temperatures climbing to around 70 on Wednesday with sunshine. A little bit more unsettled as we head into the upcoming weekend. It will be cooler as well with those rain chances, highs in the 50s.
Overall, not too shabby at all.
Not at all.
Yeah. Thank you,
looking pretty good today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Hattie. Be sure to tune in to CBS this morning. They will have the very latest from Sri Lanka after those bombings. Today is a national day of mourning in that country. And again, we have more on the UW-Madison graduate who died in those bombings over on channel3000.com. Have a great one. Enjoy the sunshine. We'll see you tomorrow.